Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Alhamdulillah, we're very happy to have yet another program for our Sout Ilaahi Muslim Arts and Film Festival 2020. It's our inaugural festival where we feature local and international artists, poets, filmmakers, and their films as well. In order to awaken the conscience of humanity, inshallah. And we're very happy to have a very special guest today. It's none other than Sidi Ali Keeler from the Al-Firdaus Ensemble. Alhamdulillah, but today is going to be a conversation style. But before we even bring him on the screen, we'd just like to remind you that there is a link on your screen to help us to build a hospital in Senegal. That's bit.ly/Senegal Hospital. Right? And today we also have bro Rizwan with us. How are you, brother Rizwan?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah. I'm actually very excited, looking forward to having this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, this is my first time. First time, handling this such big event. Yeah, so quite honored and kind of nervous actually. Yeah.
And it's such a heavyweight speaker also as well, our guest for today. I think we're all looking forward to it, inshallah. Maybe we can just bring him on the screen now. Or hold on, I think I'll probably read his bio first.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so for today, inshallah, we're going to have Sidi Ali Keeler from Al-Firdaus Ensemble. Al-Firdaus Ensemble is based in Granada and was founded in 2012 by the English violinist and singer Ali Keeler, and includes musicians from England, Spain, and Morocco. The group takes its inspiration from the word Firdaus, which is the Arabic name of Persian origin for the most elevated abode in paradise. The unique sound of their music is due to a synthesis of different musical styles. These include original compositions of a more Western classical character with influences from both Celtic and flamenco traditions, and new arrangements of songs drawn from the rich heritage of traditional Sufi music from Arabic, Andalusi, and Turkish sources. They have performed in concerts and international festivals throughout Europe, Bosnia, the US, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Turkey, Lebanon, and Malaysia. And without further ado, I'd like to invite Sidi Ali Keeler on the screen. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum, Sidi Ali.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Sidi? How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Alhamdulillah. We're good. Alhamdulillah. We're looking forward, actually. We're very excited to have you for this conversation. I believe, are you over there in Spain, in Granada now?
Yes.
I see.
Quite hot here, but...
Quite hot.
Yeah.
Maybe, what time is it now?
It's 12 o'clock.
Ah, okay.
Which means very early here.
Yeah.
But in August, everyone sleeps in and it's, too hot to go outside the house. So.
Mashallah. Is it what they call a siesta or no? Is it a prolonged siesta?
Siesta is obligatory here.
Obligatory.
Yeah. Both the pre-siesta and the after siesta, no?
Oh, mashallah. There's a pre and after. We should have more of that in Singapore, Rizwan.
Yeah, man. Try it.
We could use more of those over here in Singapore. But alhamdulillah, we're very happy to have you, Sidi Ali. And of course, definitely you're representing Al-Firdaus Ensemble. And, just now when I was reading the bio, it was mentioned that, your musical influences include those from the Celtic, flamenco, and the different classical sounds. I think, personally, when I think about this, I think it's very unique, especially for our area, the Indonesian, Singapore area. It's a lot different, and we rarely hear the kind of sounds that we can hear from Al-Firdaus Ensemble. I guess because there's some element of Western classical as well as Sufi music. Maybe could you share with us, like, how do you come up with this unique, musical identity? How did it come about? What's the story behind that? Yeah.
Well, it's the main, should we say, the influence or the variety of influences we have in our music and this synthesis has come about by the people who are part of the group, because we have a diverse band, and each member of the band, being from a different cultural background, and also a different musical education, brings their own experience to our music. So it's a real collaboratory result, you know, a result of a collaboration of different cultural influences, and I could talk about, for example, the Celtic influence.
Celtic.
After kind of getting out of classical from a very early age, I was going for a career in Western classical violin, and to become a violinist. And so I only played, you know, at the beginning, I only played classical music. And then later I kind of broke out because I actually changed direction and didn't follow the career that I initially was going to follow. And I started playing folk music and, you know, different kinds of music. And my interest, I had an interest in playing Celtic tunes on the violin, because the violin is a very important, they call it the fiddle, is a very important instrument in Irish and, you know, generally in Celtic music. So I started playing these tunes, and so I had this repertoire of different tunes, which are very universal. It's a kind of music. The folk music is very, you know, anyone can enjoy it of any age, you know.
Yes.
And then I brought this influence, should we say, into the band, and we have Celtic Salawat, and we have Longing for Beloved. So a couple of songs which are quite popular, you know, and
Yes.
are based on Irish tunes, basically Irish violin folk tunes. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, Ali, the you mentioned the Celtic Salawat. I felt that was really, really refreshing when we first heard it, because I'm not too sure how popular it is like in Europe and all that in terms of the Islamic influences of Salawat in the Celtic tradition. But over here, I mean, personally, I didn't hear much about the Celtic Salawat or, you know, the music from from that region. Maybe you wanna, is there a reason why? Is it more popular in certain areas rather than others, or how
It's
is it like?
popular everywhere, wherever we play, even in Morocco.
MashaAllah.
Oh.
I'd say it's universal. There are
Yes.
some songs we do, you know.
Yes.
You find some places that are more popular than others, you know. Like, but Celtic Salawat is wherever we go, it's a star.
It
Yeah,
is.
people love it.
Wow.
Especially live, you know. It's,
Ooh.
gets people on their feet sometimes, huh? They start
Ah.
dancing and yeah, very happy.
I think there's something very
Yeah.
yeah. There's something very natural about the. I mean, it just speaks to you, you know, especially that tune. I believe the Celtic Star, the video also, it starts really slow, and then there's a nice build up, and then the, you know. So I think, I don't know why I really pulls on the heartstrings. I'm sure you've seen that video also, right?
Yeah, it's very. I mean, it's very, you know, soothing. You know, it gets you in the mood. You know, just to relax yourself. You know, because we are especially in Singapore, we, you know, work and you have the hustle bustle. You know, trying to with this pandemic, everybody's stressed and all that. So when I switch on your music, it's, you know, just calm me down. Yeah, you know, it's the best thing ever. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
And we tried to fool people that it's actually filmed in Ireland, or
Oh, you mean it wasn't?
Oh, okay.
Wow.
it was actually filmed in Spain.
Oh, okay,
And,
okay.
We just said we can't take the band all the way the weather's too unreliable in you know, in the British Isles, you know.
Right.
It rains too much, you know. So Spain is more reliable, and so we filmed it in Spain in a very beautiful area where, you know, the nature is very beautiful, and yeah, waterfalls and forests and.
Sorry, Sidi Ali, but I remember, is this the right video? But because I think I saw something like a Stonehenge inside the video.
Yes.
So that's in Spain.
That's actually at Stone Circle. Yeah,
Right.
it's in Spain. It's a stone circle which was actually erased quite recently in the last maybe 10, 15 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting, but it looks very old.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Okay. Sidi Ali, maybe you can share with us, give us like a run through on your different members, because I believe Al Firdaus Assemble, there's 5 of you guys. So maybe you can briefly tell us about your members, and maybe like where are they originated from, and the instrument that they play.
Yes. Well, the core of our band is 5. I mean, we do collaborate with a number of other musicians, but the core is 5. Shall we say 7? Because 6, because we have 2 cellists, and I'll mention the names. So, ladies first. We have Salma Vives, who's been with us from the very beginning, and she is a classically trained cellist from Alicante area, and she's Spanish. And we met her here in Granada. She was studying at the Conservatoire of Granada, and it's very interesting her story, because she got into Arabic music. I mean, obviously there's a real link, to Arabic Andalusian music, and also ancient music. And she took up the oud, the oud, and actually that was her entrance to Islam. She came to Islam through music, first through getting to know the music of the Muslim world. So that's and we have also our other cellist, Luisa, is from Segovia. She's it's a town just near Madrid, and she's also classically trained. And I would say the difference is Salma has played more flamenco, more also being living in Granada. She got whereas Luisa is a very specialized. She's a Western classical cellist, and her parents became Muslim, and she also became Muslim in a very famous Sufi music festival in Germany. It's called the Sufi Souls Festival. And then one day we couldn't have Salma with us, because she had to look after the children circumstances, and we called Salma for a tour, and she came with. We called Luisa, and she came with us, and she amazingly managed to learn the songs and play in quarter tones, which she'd never done before. So we have 2 very fine cellists, and the cello is the earth of the group. If there's no earth, there's no heaven, so you have to have the bass, the cello. It provides us with that, with the earth. And then we have Yusuf al-Mazghidi, who plays the qanun. This is like the zither, or the plucked instrument, okay, which is actually very ancient. It's an ancient Persian instrument, and it's the precursor of the keyboards. So it's actually the great grandfather of the piano.
The qanun, interesting.
The qanun is called the qanun, yeah.
Qanun.
And so he's he has a traditional background education in should we say Oriental Andalusian music, Arabic music, in Morocco, in Tetuan. Tetuan is a very important Andalusian city, because it was founded by a Granadan, also Grenadian Muslim who was expelled. He was actually the founder, or he rebuilt Tetuan, and it became the city it is, with a very important Andalusian orchestra. You need to remember that the Andalusian music, after the Muslims were expelled, it continued in North Africa, in Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. So Yusuf was invited to perform in Spain by some very important, legendary flamenco artists, a very famous flamenco singer from Granada. And you have would you say fusion or collaboration between flamenco artists and traditional Andalusian musicians has been going on for over 50 years. So it's not new. And there's been in Spain, importantly, this actually connects us with our other Moroccan musician, inshallah, who I will talk about now. There's been in Spain since the time of Franco, when basically the education of Islamic history was like 2 lines. That, you know, the conquerors, the Arab, they called them Arab conquerors, you know, came and then they were kicked out, and, you know, 800 years in 2 lines, you know, that was basically so the Islamic history and heritage was completely buried.
No.
But recently, in the last should we say 20 years, there's been you know, since the time of Franco, there's been a resurgence in interest in the Islamic history.
Yes.
In fact, there are so many good scholars, Spanish good scholars, who have written many books about the, you know, the heritage, Islamic heritage. And of course, the Alhambra is one of the most visited monuments in the world. And also an interest in the music, the traditional Andalusian music, which has brought Sidi Yusuf al-Mazghildi here, and other musicians, and they've ended up staying here. You know, they've come back because a lot of these artists actually have roots, so that they kind of come home. You know, they come back to their, you know, their country. And then Omar bin Lemli, he's from Fez. He's our tenor singer. Mashallah, great voice and a good, excellent percussionist. He joined us in 2012. He basically when the group started, Al Firdaus, and so he's brought his expertise of Andalusian music into the band, and we do actually more traditional Andalusian songs. The Borda, if you've heard the Borda, which he can lead. They have the Andalusian style is particular. It's very particular. It's just like Andalusian Islamic geometry. You know, it's the ornamentation of the voice is not the same as Arabic singing. You know, should we say, when I say Arabic, Syrian or Egyptian, you know, it has a very different style. Right. And it has different maqams. So alhamdulillah, thanks to these wonderful Moroccan musicians, Omar and Yusuf, we've been enriched, the group has been enriched with the whole Maghrebi Andalusian tradition. Yes. And also rhythmically as well, because they have very unique rhythms in which we've cross rhythms, you know, which are very interesting. Not the typical rhythms you hear, you know.
Yes, that's very interesting.
So, alhamdulillah. And then last but not least is our dear Venezuelan musician, Mohammed Dominguez, who became Muslim in Granada. Inshallah. And he has a funny story because Mohammed, he has an amazing technique, and you know, the secret behind that is that he learnt to accompany belly dancers, you know, stuff for belly dance. Yes.
Interesting.
And if you this is his pre-Islamic era, and if you have to accompany a dancer, you have to be very skilled drummer because you have to adapt and with her movements. So that was how he got into drumming, and then he came to Granada, and then he discovered Islam, mashallah. Interestingly enough, through the Senegalese brothers, connection with Senegal.
Interesting.
He actually found Islam through some Senegalese brothers living here in Granada, and that was his doorway, mashallah.
Mashallah.
And then he started to do different kind of music, and we're very happy to have him with us. And interestingly, he also has another connection. So with Muhammad, we stretch to the Americas because we have Europe, Africa, and his wife is from Indonesia.
Subhanallah, Southeast Asia.
His wife is from Kudus. You know Kudus, very important. Kudus is in Java, and it's where one of the awliya who brought Islam to Indonesia.
Yes, the saints.
Sunan Kudus. Yes.
MashaAllah.
So, I was actually at his wedding, and
MashaAllah.
our group is very international.
It is.
And this is very enriching for us, mashallah. And alhamdulillah, we've got to travel a lot before COVID.
Yes, so, of course, pre-COVID.
Last year was our busiest year.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. But that's interesting, Sidi Ali, when you mention about the influences or the different your different members, like some from Indonesia, Celtic and Andalusian, even Arabic, and Fez, sorry. For me, when I hear that, yes, it does make your sound very, very refreshing. Like, it's not the typical rhythm like what you mentioned you hear on the radio, like the current music today. But I also wonder what kind of process that will be for your group to make music. Like, how is your creative process like when you want to actually come together and agree on something that you feel that, okay, this rhythm works for us? Like, how does that work? Like, does one person start playing and then you guys just jam in, or how does that?
Well, there's different process, because sometimes we choose a particular traditional song.
Yes.
And then we will arrange that. So that means the arrangement of the song, obviously the rhythm, the percussion, will be decided more by the percussion sections. We have two percussionists, that side. And then we have within the song, then we have an arrangement. So we have sometimes harmonies, which, different members of several members of the band will contribute. And obviously I'm I'm the leader of the band. It's important always to have a leader. And so I guess that helps to have in a way, to have the last say and, decide at the end after consulting and listening to everyone's, opinion. But it is a very organic process, and our last album, Noor, was very interesting because we had a little retreat, a 3-day retreat in Rosales. A lot of people know Rosales. It's where a lot of scholars have retreats in Spain, in the mountains. Very beautiful place with a mosque. And so I said, let's go to Rosales. We're going to have a 3-day retreat. And so in those 3 days, we had the albums, the structure. But I tell you, it was just bones. Really, it was like the bones. It was very, kind of the basic structure of the album and the songs, Yes. So we had the melodies, and we had but the actual the arrangement, a lot of that went on in the studio while we were doing the songs, which I guess was very time consuming and costly. But I call it like the cave. The studio was like the cave, We were there for over a month, over a month. We were there, and so the ideas were developing, and even there was a song which we didn't have planned, which was born during the recording. Which is, so alhamdulillah, so it is an organic process, and we have a good team, and each member of the team contributes according to their expertise, so obviously, and there's also a very important part of our music is improvisation. So within our songs, there's always a time where some of the musicians will do a solo, and I think this is very important. It keeps the music fresh, and also that allows the inspiration of the moment to come into our concerts, so which is very important. Yeah.
MashaAllah. I think that's a very interesting thing you mentioned about improvisation and allowing the artist or the person to get connected with something that's a bit more organic and loose, because I guess, I think many times they try to follow a certain system, and then they just follow it. And I think as an audience, we can honestly feel that once the artist gets connected to a certain, their soul in that sense, it goes like, it's like flying, and it's something very, very, I don't know, very pure, I would say.
Yes, and it requires bravery. It's in the West. This is something that in the Western, should we say, classical tradition. Obviously, in jazz, it's very important. But in the Western classical tradition, it's been killed. This idea of improvisation. So you just play the notes written on the page, and that's it. But really, improvisation is an incredible doorway to connect with the divine, because who is the source of every inspiration and real creativity. Anything which reaches heart, So alhamdulillah, this is I was set free from that cage, and it's very interesting because other artists who, Luisa, for example, Salma has a lot more experience, but Luisa, she had never improvised before. It's like, wow, she's an amazing cellist, but then, but mashallah, she's taken to it so naturally, and alhamdulillah. So it's a wonderfully liberating experience, but improvisation is an art, and it's not easy. You have to, it has to make musical sense, and also you have to follow the maqams. Or if you go into another maqam, you have to come back. It's like, so it requires a lot of experience, and I'm learning all the time.
MashaAllah, Allah bless you.
Yeah. So because okay, so you were saying that most of your members are from all parts of the world, okay, and maybe you can share with us, like, when actually do you realize that Al-Firdaus Ensemble have to take their music to an international level, okay, because knowing that it's your music is basically more to the European side of the world, and like the Asian, I mean, like myself, it's quite not sure whether we can accept it. Yeah. So when do you actually, like, okay, come on, let's conquer the world?
Well, the international, because going back, basically, I wasn't looking for a career in music. I'd kind of given up music, and I was actually doing business, importing handicrafts from Syria. I lived in very important. I lived in Syria in Damascus for 8 years, and that's where I learned the recitation of Quran, and also the maqams. I learned not through studying, but just through immersion and listening and being with great singers, and in the zawiyas, the great zawiyas of or teke, or derga, I don't know what you call it, there are so many words, of Damascus and Aleppo. So it's very, I just wanted to mention that because of course, my musical education has been both classical, Western classical, and also from Damascus, and I'm indebted so much to my sheikhs and teachers from Damascus. May Allah cure that city and bring peace to Syria and the other regions in the Islamic world, inshallah. And but it's interesting. Our group. I mean, So we moved to Granada, and basically I met with some friends, Muslim musicians, who were also interested in expressing like spirituality through music. And some were Spanish, Moroccans, and in fact, the Moroccans came later. So it was at the beginning. It was just Spanish, myself, and some Spanish artists, So, and we formed this group, which was called Kauthar. This was some people know this is and it's important to start there because we were just friends. It wasn't, and we started out, and then people said, well, you sound good, you should record. We started in a cafe with a little it was called the Ottoman Tea House in Granada, which is quite unique because there's not much Turkish influence here. But the one who started the group was a ney player, and so he was in love with everything Turkish. But anyway, we recorded our first album, which was called Ruh, and we didn't have any kind of international ambitions at that time, And then a dear friend of mine who's interestingly also became Muslim through music, especially Andalusian music, and also the Holy Quran, listening to the Holy Quran. He was a music producer. Abdulsamad Romero, I mentioned because he's very well known. He's from Rosales. He's the one who's the director of Al Qaeda Rosales. So he's a very good friend of the founder and director of the Fez Festival. This is the most famous sacred music festival in the world. Okay, and he then started this other smaller festival, because the other one grew, sort of commercial, called the Festival of Sufi Culture. Okay, and in Fez, mashallah, which is the heart and the spiritual cultural capital of Morocco.
Yes, indeed.
Founded by Moulay Idris, the great grandson of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a blessed city. So Abdul Samad. Wait, sorry, the story is a bit long, I'll say.
It's okay, it's very nice to hear.
Abdul Samad said, look, you're not in the festival, you're not in the program, but come to Fez, and I know the director, I will get you in the festival. So we came with our families, it was a whole caravan, it's caravan. We came arrived in Fez, we stayed in the big Riyadh, all the friends, family, and then we got a slot in the festival. We ended up. It was a beautiful slot, and the festival is in this old palace with this beautiful huge tree. And after Asr, we had this concert, and the birds were singing with us, and it was a complete success. We took our CDs, we sold out the CDs, and that was the first opening of what would become and transform into Al Firdaus ensemble, under a tree.
A tree with birds singing along.
At that time, it was at Kauthar at the river. It was to become, to transform, inshallah, and later. So the beginning was our international, on on the international platform,
Yes.
the beginning was in Fez, and we continue to have a very strong relationship with that blessed city, and we've been back many times, and everyone knows of Firdaus, you know, in Moroccan television as well. We appear very often, you know. So alhamdulillah, we have a very strong link. And then in terms of the international stage, I mentioned obviously Europe. We started in Europe, and also Algeria, Tunisia. This was at the beginning. Turkey as well. But then we had this invitation, which I'll mention. Very dear brother Suhaib, Imam Suhaib Sultan, from, may Allah give him health. You know, he's the chaplain of the Princeton University in the US. MashaAllah, some years ago, he invited us to celebrate the Mawlid in the chapel of the Princeton College, you know, the famous Ivy League university.
Yes.
They say college, and this was our first tour in the US, and for us it was a very important opening, you know, and it was so inspiring to play in this Christian building, which is a chapel, Gothic, in a beautiful architecture, and we performed and celebrated the Mawlid, and so that was a very important and key, should we say, concert, because since our first trip to the US, we've had 3 US tours, and last year we had our largest tour in the US.
MashaAllah.
So that's been a very important platform for us. And also last year, alhamdulillah, we had a tour in Malaysia, Singapore, and Australia as well, which was very beautiful, mashallah. And I know you're in Singapore, but our concert in Singapore was definitely one of the highlights. And also we had it was very wonderful because we actually performed with an ensemble from a madrasa,
Yes.
from a very well-known madrasa in Singapore. I forget the name of the madrasa, but it was a girls' ensemble, and they played the angklung, which is a traditional Javan instrument, and they performed al-madha with us. It was so beautiful. It was so really, we were so touched, all of us, you know, and because it's very difficult, because each musician can only play a maximum of 3 notes. You know, it's like a bamboo instrument. I'm telling you, but you obviously know about this, but it's a bamboo instrument, and so it's a real expression of collaboration.
Allah.
Which is mashallah, which is Islam is a ta'awun, because they can only play the full tune together. Nobody can play it.
That's interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
Very beautiful. Yeah, it's a very unique. So we had the conductor, and each one playing the 1 note, 2 note, or 3 notes, depending on the level, you know.
Interesting.
But it showed, you know, how, mashallah, our music can be played in so many different ways, and it also connected us with nature, because these instruments are made from bamboo. They're made from the natural materials of the Malay world, you know, so the forests and the rivers,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and it connects you, because it's music is very important, and this is why, just one note, I'm going on, but music connects us with the fitra.
Allah.
Okay, and all traditional pre-modern forms of music, pre-electronic, and are connected with the fitra. We don't know, like for example, the maqams, we don't know how old they are. They are pre-Islamic, most of them. Some came in, like for example, they say Hijaz, but even these maqams were pre-Islamic. They belong to humanity. They're
MashaAllah.
ancient forms, you know. And this is why the name of the maqams, the 7 maqams, most of them are in Persian. Sigar, Rast, you know, Nahavand, Sabah. These are Persian names. Why is that? Because when Islam expanded and the Persian world came under Islam, so that their traditions, their civilization enriched Islam, and of course, the Persian world was so sophisticated in terms musically and in many other ways. Each part of the Greek world, you know, obviously philosophy, they produced philosophy and
Yes.
you know, Roman and Greek architecture as well. So anyway, but these, as I said, this is Islam. Islam, you know, it takes from every culture. It does not kill any culture. It does not impose on any culture. It brings about, what would you say, this synthesis and brings out the best in each people. And this is a miracle. Yet there's unity wherever you go. The same Quran, the same Qibla, and the same, you know, the salawat, you know, everywhere in the world. And this is, I mean, for us, you know, to travel is so enriching. Firstly, from the people we meet, it just proves that Islam is universal, you know, and it's for all peoples, you know.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful, Sidi Ali, because you mentioned about a lot of things. I think we could probably go on for a very long time in this conversation. I think what's very interesting that I managed to pick out a little bit is how the universality of music in connection to the fitrah of every human being, and in that by extension humanity, of how we are more alike than we are different, especially in current times, you know. And but beyond that, I mean, there are music that connects people, but I would say the essence of your music, the kind of your music, is the spirituality of it, the purity and the spirituality of it. And I feel when I listen to your music, and you know, when other people, I'm sure they embark on a certain, you know, contemplation, you know, remembrance of Allah, you know, being grateful of the blessings that they have in their life. And I think that's something very unique about the music that you mentioned on the roots in Fez, the city of the saints, and then the roots in, you know, Granada and Andalusia. And maybe you could make some mention or share with us, like, spirituality wise, you know, how is it that you feel, you know, this is so important in music today? Yeah.
The highest that music can do is help. And the thing is that it's important to say this, no, that music can become like anything. It can become a distraction, and it can become, you know, but it's important to say that music is at its highest is a vehicle to help you to reach another state, to help you reach another spiritual state and a state of remembrance, of connection with the divine. And for real music to take place, and this is very difficult, and this is a process, and of course each one is on their spiritual path, you know, but especially the Sufi way is to become zero, and through that zero, which is empty, then through that the real music can manifest.
Interesting.
So we need to become zero and empty. Should we say our nafs, our ego needs to be under our feet, and then maybe we will receive a gift
Allah.
of real music. Otherwise, it's ego productions, and so it's through our music. We hope through our music also that our music is in itself purifying, so we can actually aspire and get closer to that. That should we say aim, right? Which is to become nothing. To be real servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's the most difficult aim. But alhamdulillah, we inshallah are under the shadow of our mashaykh, the awliya, inshallah, and we hope that from their blessings and their nazar, should say, gaze, that we can also keep on the right track, inshallah, and continue to produce inspiring music and each time more beautiful,
Ameen, inshallah.
Ameen.
Yeah. This is and also we start our concerts with the highest music, although it's not music, but which is the Holy Quran. And this is in Islam, this is the purest and most ancient form of music. If you can, because music is melody, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever does not recite the Quran with melody is not one of my people. So is not from us. So we cannot read the Quran. We have to read the Quran in the most beautiful way, and we try to start our performances with the Quran, just as I do in the Zawiya, and also end with the Quran. This is the best way, as you say, the most blessed form of doing everything, actually, not just music, everything in life. It starts with the Quran, it ends with the Quran.
Yes.
Inshallah. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. I got one question for you. Okay. So because I've known that you did some collaboration, okay, especially with Baraka Blue and some other artists, Islamic, musicians. And
Yes.
is there any collaboration in the future, or are you open with working with some Muslim artists of a different genre? Yeah.
Yeah. We have a collaboration which we're working on with which is still kind of, I can't say too much about it, but with
Surprise.
with inshallah with Yusuf Islam, with his
Inshallah.
music. So inshallah we'll see, and that's I mean, I'm hoping inshallah it will happen. We've been working on something which brings together one of his songs and Ala Firdaus, Firdaus style, so an arrangement, one of his songs. So I'm hoping that inshallah we will be able to collaborate, because it would be wonderful to reach a different audience, because Yusuf Islam, the majority of his fans are non-Muslims. And he has a huge, it's obviously a different kind of audience, but it would be very interesting to expand our audience. So I'm hoping also it would be great to and inspiring to perform with him, inshallah. And also inshallah, I'm hoping, because we had a little collaboration, it was very last year, maybe Isam, from Outlandish. Outlandish. It's a Danish group.
Okay.
So he's Outlandish was actually a very famous group. Not only just, I mean, in terms of, you know, not in the Islamic audience, but there's that, but generally, you know, international, very successful. But he's a Moroccan artist, but Danish Moroccan. I mean, brought up in Denmark, and I shout real heartfelt. I would say he's a kindred soul, but it's more he performs obviously different style, more kind of folk rock, but he also introduces he uses some traditional African and traditional melodies. So I'm hoping that we can do something together, inshallah. We talked about it, and yeah, it's always wonderful to collaborate with other artists.
Definitely. I think we are, I mean, inshallah, if that happens, inshallah, by the will of Allah, we'll love to see it, inshallah. And yeah, I think recently I was just listening to Sidi Yusuf Islam's, he played the guitar, this song called The Wind, and it's really beautiful. The way he played it is really beautiful, mashallah. Okay, so, but there is something that I really want to ask you, because I guess we can use this platform. You did mention about platform, and we do have an audience for our film festival that's going on for these 4 days, Friday to Monday. So we thought we wanted, maybe perhaps you can use this platform to share more about your future projects, because you do have Manda Morisco, a clip that showcases the poignant story of Spanish Muslims. But I've heard, or whether you've mentioned that, you know, you also have a new project, an album called Morisco Memory, which is a continuation of that story.
Yeah.
Perhaps
Well,
could you?
I'll talk about
Yeah.
two things.
Yeah,
Morisco
Bismillah.
Memory is not an album. It's a video clip, but it's a video clip that we've never done before, because this is a video clip that is telling the story with actors, using actors, of the discovery of that manuscript, which you saw in the Madha.
Yes.
So we're going to have the discovery of that manuscript, and we're going to take it back in history to a family, a Morisco family, who are celebrating a Maulid in their house. And the grandfather is writing the manuscript, and he's teaching it to the son, who then teaches to the children how to sing it. So we have a song which is from our second album, Nur. It's called Morisco Memory. And this song, subhanAllah, it's actually almost made, when we were composing this song, and I didn't have in mind this video or the history, but it so expresses the story, because the first part of the song is kind of more sweet, this sweet melody, which will be the Mawlid. And then suddenly you have this dramatic change in the song, in the middle of the song, and this flamenco guitar, and the rhythm changes to 7-beat. And this is going to be, subhanAllah, it's going to be the rupture. So in this moment, the police come rapping on the door, dum, bum, bum, and the Mawlid is stopped. There's chaos, and the son hides the manuscript, you know. And then the whole the story of the taking the escorting the family, you know, the police or the army escorting the family to the coast, and then being sent off in a boat. We're going to hopefully, inshallah, the idea is quite ambitious, but we already have a good plot. You know, we're working with 2 directors actually on this, and we're hoping that, inshallah, this will be a video clip which will really awaken people to an episode which is little known in history. You know, the story of the Moriscos and their legacy. So, because this happened in 1609, the expulsion. So this is way after the should we say, the Reconquista, no? Of Granada. We're talking over 100 years after, you know. when we're talking about the Moriscos, they were outwardly, they had to show they were Christians, but they kept their faith in secret.
Allah.
So this is their story. Inshallah, we're hoping that one of our directors is an Italian anthropologist
MashaAllah.
who's been stuck in Italy. So with the COVID, so everything on the planet has been delayed by his will. But inshallah, we hope that we will be able to fulfill this project. And also our other project, which I would like to mention, which I don't think many people know, is that we have a coming album, inshallah, which we're going to be working on in the coming months, inshallah, starting in September, which will be called Shifa, inshallah. Now, Shifa, this idea of Shifa is actually the name I thought of way before everything happened, like COVID and whatever everything happening. So it's not something that I thought, oh, Shifa would be a
Cure for COVID.
It's coincidence.
good name, But it is very apt. I mean, that mashallah, the whole planet and the world and humanity is in desperate need of healing. So I think, inshallah, we hope to produce an album which is our next album, which we hope is healing, inshallah.
Inshallah.
So yeah, and I won't say much more about it, but inshallah, yeah, this.
Yes, inshallah. I mean, when you say Shifa, I was reminded of the book Ashifa by Qadi Iyad, and how it is healing, and a lot of your music and secret music really does that to your soul. When you listen to them singing diwan, spiritual poetry, it brings you to another place and another time where you're not there anymore. You're really somewhere else.
It brings you to the timeless.
Allah, yes, indeed. The timeless and the spaceless. Yeah, it really does. And all your worries disappear, Sidi Ali. When you listen to such music, you don't think about the dunya, the worries and all that. And I think there's a great value, that not just value lah. There's a great sacred heritage that the work that you're doing with Al-Firdaus and a lot of the artists, sacred artists are doing. And with that, we really it is a preservation of the history and the culture and the sanctity of it. And may Allah continue to increase your group. Ameen. And I think you mentioned about collaboration. Maybe one day, maybe Ridwan, you can do some rap, and then maybe you can collaborate with Al-Firdaus Ensemble.
Yeah, inshallah.
Are you a rapper, Sufyan?
I'm not. Ridwan, are you a rapper, Ridwan? I think you did dabble in some music, right? No?
Yeah. My son's rapping now. My youngest son, he's 11-year-old. He's into rap, and sometimes he improvises, but inshallah he'll be rapping about good things.
Inshallah.
No, mashallah, I have some friends. You maybe know Brother Ali. Brother Ali is a dear brother, and alhamdulillah, we've had a few. Obviously, hip hop is a very different genre, and but we had a little collaboration together in a retreat.
MashaAllah.
It's always interesting, but mashallah, the thing is that all the different genres are a different language for different people. So it's very important. That's it, alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, before the main event, with Brother Ali, you can go with Brother Ridwan, and then you can be the opening. Mashallah. But thank you so much, Sidi Ali. I think a lot of what you've shared is something that we feel it adds depth to the narrative that is Al-Firdaus Ensemble. You listen to your videos online, but you want to know a little bit more about who you are, why you do the music, what is the meaning and the essence and the reality of it. And I think really this conversation really opened up a lot for me personally, and I'm sure for Ridwan as well.
Yeah.
Being able to understand your work and really have a deeper appreciation for it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that there's only an opening when there's a good listener. So mashallah, thank you for being good listeners and receptive, and your good intentions. And invite it. It's an honor to be representing Al Firdaus Ensemble here in your festival, and Khalid, mashallah, we've known each other and connected on cyberspace for many years since the beginning. But
MashaAllah.
this is kind of the first collaboration, shall we say, with Sout Ilaahi, inshallah. And we hope that we will continue to collaborate in other events, inshallah.
I mean, and that's very interesting because you mentioned Sidi Khalid and Sout Ilaahi, because when they did start, it was based on traditional nasheed and qasidas as well. Yeah, and Sidi Khalid was, sharing the history of the qasidas and nasheed. I think it's like a coming back home, like what you mentioned. It really is. It really comes back to that. And again, thank you so much. May Allah bless you and your members and your family as well. We pray for you, for your success, and inshallah for you to reach out to a wider audience, inshallah.
Ameen, mashallah. Thank you very much again. It's been a pleasure connecting with you.
Alhamdulillah.
And salams to all your team, and may Allah reward you and give you great openings, inshallah.
Ameen, ameen, Rabbal Ameen. Thank you so much, Sidi Ali. Inshallah, till next time, I will have you. Wallahu alam. We don't know what Allah has planned, but inshallah, till next time. And with that, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to you, Sidi Ali.
So we do Fatiha, inshallah. Fatiha.
Bismillah. Bismillah. Why not?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا آمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Amin.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sidi Ali. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay.
Yeah, you can close me, you know.
Right, alhamdulillah, we've come to the end of a very interesting conversation, yeah, Ridwan?
Yeah, I just hope like, you can extend or something, but yeah, it's about Maghrib now.
Yeah, it's very close to Maghrib now, and I think our viewers in Singapore especially preparing for Maghrib. But yeah, I think you're right. We could have talked a lot more. Like, in fact, we have a lot more questions for them.
Let's keep a few, yeah. So I mean, it's a good, experience for me. Yeah, this is the first time I'm listening to him and talking to him. Like, I usually listen to his songs, and yeah, mashallah, he's such a beautiful person, beautiful brother, mashallah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the culture and history that he mentioned and shared with us is really beautiful. And I hope that all of you, inshallah, those of you watching, it has been beneficial to you. We do want to make mention that this is a 4-day festival. Today is our first day, 7 to 10 of August. It's a Sout Ilaahi Muslim Arts and Film Festival. And inshallah, we aim to promote the culture, arts, and music as well, poetry in this festival, raise an awareness. But at the same time, we are raising funds to build a hospital in Senegal. So there is actually a link on your screen, bit.ly/Senegal Hospital. That's bit.ly/Senegal Hospital to help us to complete a hospital in Senegal, which is in West Africa, specifically Taiba Niasse. And in that community, there's about 30,000 people in that community that really need medical aid. And those of us who have been there, we've seen for ourselves, how this hospital, inshallah, once it has been completed, you'll be able to bring a lot of benefit, because we heard stories of how mothers who are pregnant, they face complications, because they cannot reach the medical aid on time. And those who need to be in the hospital, it's about an hour's drive or 2 hours drive away. Again, it delays. So we really hope that you can share the blessing together And it is a sadaqah jariyah, definitely, inshallah. And we hope that you will join us, you know. And the link is there on the screen. If you perhaps cannot contribute, maybe you can just share the poster, share the link, and talk to your friends, right, Ridwan? I think there's a lot of things that those viewers can do.
There's a lot of things you can do. You know, I mean, especially now in this kind of, COVID thingy. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are having, problems and so on. So we just give, just a click, just a click, sharing, a like, a comment, and then you can just go on to contribute anything you do.
Yeah, and even if it's just like $5 or whatever amount, like just give from your heart. Yeah, inshallah, Allah will accept it, inshallah. And with that, we come to the end. Thank you so much. Do tune in to our other programs happening today. Do check out the schedule on social media. And with that, thank you. Please pray for us, our volunteers, and our directors, Sidi Khalid, Sayyida Ainun. With that, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.